In the rolling plains of Salisbury, England, one of the world's most famous ancient monuments has just been re-examined using some of the most advanced technology ever applied to archaeology. Researchers recently created a highly detailed digital model of Stonehenge using laser scanning, photogrammetry, aerial mapping, and artificial intelligence. What they discovered is forcing experts to take a closer look at assumptions that have stood for generations. For centuries, Stonehenge has posed a simple but powerful question. How did people living more than 4,500 years ago build something so sophisticated? The monument consists of massive standing stones, some weighing over 25 tons, arranged in a precise circular formation. Smaller bluestones were transported from Wales, nearly 150 miles away. According to conventional archaeology, Neolithic communities used stone tools, ropes, wooden sledges, and enormous amounts of labor to create the structure. While that explanation remains the accepted view, new digital analysis has revealed details that make the achievement seem even more remarkable. The project began when researchers conducted the most comprehensive survey of Stonehenge ever attempted. Every visible surface was scanned down to tiny fractions of a millimeter. The result was a complete digital twin of the monument, allowing artificial intelligence systems to search for patterns that human observers might miss. One of the first surprises involved the way the stones were shaped. Some tool marks clearly matched techniques expected from the Neolithic period, such as pounding and grinding with stone hammers. But other surfaces showed an astonishing level of consistency and precision. Certain curved sections deviated by only a few millimeters across several meters of stone. The joints connecting the stones fit together with remarkable accuracy, suggesting careful planning and measurement long before formal engineering was thought to exist. Even more intriguing was what researchers discovered when they analyzed Stonehenge as an acoustic structure. For years, archaeologists suspected the monument might affect sound in unusual ways. The new digital models allowed researchers to test this theory in detail. Simulations showed that the arrangement of the stones can amplify certain frequencies, particularly deep voices, chanting, and drums. Sound waves bounce between the stones and reinforce one another, creating powerful echoes inside the circle. The effect is so pronounced that some experts believe it was intentional. Had the monument been arranged differently, much of this amplification would disappear. Whether by design or by coincidence, Stonehenge appears to function as a giant prehistoric sound chamber. But the mysteries did not stop there. When the AI mapped the exact positions of the stones, it found a series of geometric relationships embedded throughout the monument. Researchers identified repeated patterns involving circles, triangles, and carefully measured distances. Some of these relationships resemble mathematical principles that would not be formally described until thousands of years later. That does not necessarily mean the builders understood advanced mathematics in the modern sense. Skilled builders often discover useful geometric patterns through experience. Yet the consistency of these relationships suggests that the monument's layout was anything but random. The astronomical alignments proved equally fascinating. Most people know that Stonehenge aligns with the summer solstice sunrise. Every year, the rising sun appears directly above the heel stone when viewed from the center of the monument. But recent analysis suggests the site may track much more than a single annual event. Researchers found evidence that parts of the monument correspond to the Moon's complex 18.6-year cycle. This cycle governs the extreme positions where the Moon appears on the horizon. Tracking it requires observations spanning nearly 2 decades. If the interpretation is correct, the builders were monitoring celestial patterns with extraordinary dedication. Such knowledge would have required generations of careful observation and record-keeping. Then came another puzzle. When AI compared different phases of Stonehenge's construction, it found something unexpected. The earliest stonework often appeared to be the most precise. Later additions and modifications seemed less refined. Normally, we expect technology and craftsmanship to improve over time. Yet at Stonehenge, Some of the highest quality work appears at the beginning of the monument's history. This does not prove the existence of lost civilizations or forgotten technologies, but it raises important questions about how knowledge was transmitted across generations. The transportation of the stones remains one of the biggest mysteries. Researchers know where many of the stones originated. The giant sarsenns came from quarries roughly 25 miles away, while the bluestones were transported from western Wales. Moving such enormous objects across prehistoric landscapes would have been a tremendous undertaking. Computer simulations suggest the process was even more challenging than previously thought. Many stones have irregular shapes, protrusions, and uneven surfaces that would have made transportation difficult using simple rollers or sledges. Yet remarkably little damage appears on the stones themselves. This does not mean transportation was impossible. It does suggest, however, that the builders may have employed methods more sophisticated than the traditional models often presented in textbooks. The bluestones present another fascinating mystery. Rather than collecting stones from a single location, the builders appear to have selected specific stones from multiple outcrops across Wales. That implies they were looking for particular qualities. Some researchers believe these stones were valued for cultural or spiritual reasons. Others point to their unusual acoustic characteristics when struck. Whatever the reason, transporting them over such a vast distance required a level of organization that continues to impress modern researchers. Perhaps the most dramatic discoveries came from the surrounding landscape. Ground-penetrating radar and advanced mapping technologies revealed hundreds of buried features around Stonehenge. These include pits, post holes, earthworks, and structures that remain largely unexplored. Together they suggest that Stonehenge was not an isolated monument, but the center of a much larger ceremonial complex. Artificial intelligence identified patterns connecting these features across miles of terrain. Certain ridges, mounds, and pathways appear deliberately positioned to create visual alignments with the monument. Some researchers even believe the surrounding landscape contributed to the site's acoustic properties. Under the right conditions, sounds made far from the stone circle could be directed toward the monument, creating powerful sensory experiences for participants. Of course, not everyone agrees with the more dramatic interpretations. Many archaeologists argue that geometric patterns can emerge naturally during construction. Others caution that acoustic effects do not necessarily prove intentional design. The astronomical alignments, while impressive, may reflect generations of observation rather than advanced scientific knowledge. These are important reminders. Extraordinary discoveries require careful evaluation. Yet even the most skeptical researchers agree on one point: Stonehenge represents an incredible achievement. The monument demanded planning, coordination, engineering skill, astronomical awareness, and an immense investment of labor. Whether it served as a temple, an observatory, a gathering place, a healing center, or something else entirely, it was clearly far more than a simple arrangement of stones. What makes Stonehenge so fascinating is that every new discovery seems to deepen the mystery rather than solve it. Advanced scanning technologies have given us more information than ever before. Artificial intelligence has identified patterns hidden within millions of data points. Researchers now understand details that previous generations could never have observed. And yet the central question remains unanswered. Who were the people who built Stonehenge? How did they acquire the knowledge required to create it? And what message were they trying to preserve in stone for thousands of years? Perhaps the greatest lesson of Stonehenge is not that ancient people possessed impossible technology. It is that we may still underestimate what determined, intelligent human beings were capable of achieving long before the modern world existed. 4.5 millennia later, the stones still stand. And despite all our technology, they continue to challenge everything we think we know about the distant past.